Well, folks, we have gone definitely from spring into summer now. We've had back-to-back days of 90-degree temperatures, and not only are the plants having to get accustomed to it, my large self is sweating, and clearly it's probably obvious on the camera, but that's okay. It's just part of the process. One of the things that I've learned this spring season with my potatoes, we had some really significant spring storms, and they kind of wreaked havoc on the foliage for my potatoes, and I didn't have any kind of real support or trellis or anything at all other than all of the other potatoes. I had kind of crowded my containers in close together. So two things. One, that wasn't good enough to help support the plants as they got bigger. They need some kind of a trellising support, you know, a foot, 18 inches off of the rim of one of these containers that they can grow through, and that'll help keep the plants more upright and shade the containers more and all of this kind of stuff. Probably make it a lot easier to water as well. But the other thing, as a result of the foliage getting knocked over and this, that, and the other in these storms and these wind events that we had, the plants that were bigger, right, laid over the top of some of the smaller plants, especially some of my 5-gallon buckets. I got to be careful with this one because I broke the edge of it. Some of my 5-gallon buckets, and essentially smothered those plants and caused them to, I think, prematurely die off. And so anyway, so I'm sitting here with 3 containers. I got a 5-gallon bucket and 2 of these that are kind of 15-gallon buckets, and I clipped these off, I don't know, Monday or Tuesday. So it still hasn't been a full week, but I'm gonna go ahead and harvest them just to get them out and to see. I'm a little bit worried, I'll be honest with you, because I guess I didn't realize. I could see the stems, and then it was just a sea of green foliage on top, and I just assumed, you know, everything had been strong enough to kind of fight back up, and that was an incorrect assumption on my part. So a mistake. I think there are potatoes in here. I just don't know what kind of quality it's going to be, but you know, I think it's important that everybody sees and everybody hears, you know, what somebody struggled with maybe, and maybe you all have a better solution for me, or some alternative ideas that I can play with and think about for the next time. Because that's the great thing about gardening, is I think we're eternal optimists, and there's always the next time. So I'm gonna dump these in here one at a time, and I'll move the camera in and put it down so you can see what the harvest ends up being. All right, I'm going to do the 5-gallon bucket first because it was buried the worst and covered up the most. I see a few little potatoes, I see a lot of worms, but I don't see big potatoes, and to me that would be the indication that the plants did get killed and quit developing. A lot of worms. So there's a potato. See a lot of underdeveloped. That one's a little better. To see what I'm seeing are a bunch of
these little bitty things, which to me again is an indication they did not get a chance to develop. It's a shame because clearly the worms like the soil. Not a real good effort, to be perfectly honest with you. I would have hoped for more than that, but there's a few in there that'll eat, so that's all right. Now for the first bigger bucket, and I think I got better results here. Golly, look at these worms. I guess I should go into the worm business. So this is already better. So, you know, that's just part of it. Some things work better, some things struggle a little bit. I'll keep those separate so that we can see a different picture. I don't know that I've ever seen so many worms in one of my potato buckets. Just start removing some of this soil back to the other container. People a lot of times ask me, you know, what do you do with all of this soil? Well, again, you can see how rich and how good this soil is just based on the worms that are in it. And so, you know, this will get reused and repurposed, I assure you. Some of it will go to help fill my raised beds. Some of it gets put into several big containers, and it, you know, I just keep it until I need soil again. So a little better results, but still no really big potatoes. If any of you all have any experience trellising your potatoes in some form or fashion, I would love to hear it in the comments and to kind of see what your thoughts or ideas are about it, to try to see whether or not it would be beneficial. I've got some ideas about how I would do it, but I would love to hear from anybody that has already done it, and to, you know, build on that knowledge. All right, let me dump all this out so we can do the last one. There's what we got from that container, which probably had about 10 gallons of growing medium in it. All right, let me do the last one. There's a little better one. Might be the best one yet. Interestingly enough, this container is significantly drier than the first two. So I don't know if it was more protected by a tree or by something here and didn't get the rain that the others got last night. I mean, am I disappointed? No. I mean, I got potatoes. Well, I mean, what the heck? I'm okay with it. I would have liked a little bit better quality, but that's okay. I still attribute some of this to my fault, if you will, in terms of not setting up the containers in such a fashion so that the foliage would be better protected as we endured some of these crazy windstorms. So this is the 5-gallon bucket. Clearly, in my opinion, it underperformed. And while these blue containers that I had, while they can hold about, if I fill them up to the brim, they can hold about 15 gallons. The reality is there's only about 10 gallons material in there. So I think they produced pretty well. Clearly, both of these piles, this was the first blue container. It was, you know, just by looking at it the best. I'll go in and get weights on these and put the weights on the screen so you get an idea of what the yield is. This one was clearly the best. You know, this one wasn't too far behind, but clearly the first blue container grew the best. But these are still some nice potatoes here. You know, even these little bitty ones, trust me, they eat. You can collect a whole bunch of these and put them together and either boil them or zap them in the microwave with a little butter and salt and pepper, and they're fantastic. So, you know, in terms of having some fresh potatoes now to do something with, I can tell you right now, I am already going to be going either to the grocery store or to the meat market and looking for a roast to cook tonight. I'm happy. I'm pleased. I can't believe all the worms in the dirt. That was, I've seen some worms in my containers before, but never anything like that. That was crazy. So just in closing real quick, you can't be mad whenever you get fresh potatoes. Would I have liked to have had a little bit more or a little bit bigger potatoes? Yeah, but who doesn't always want something a little bit better? But I am thrilled to death with these. Just as a quick note, important tip, important lesson. See how these are sitting here? I'm gonna leave these sitting out and they'll dry off and kind of dry out a little bit. Do not wash your potatoes until you're ready to eat them. So if you're not gonna eat all of this tonight, put them in a container somewhere and leave the dirt on them. Don't get them wet, okay? Very, very important, especially if you want these to keep longer. Now, I gotta roll the dice. I've got, you know, it's about 16 square foot of in-ground potatoes that I cut the tops off on Tuesday, and I said I was gonna wait 7 to 10 days, but that was if we didn't get any rain. We already got a little bit of rain overnight. We're supposed to get rain again today, and I'm torn. Murphy's Law says if I dig them, it's not gonna rain. And if I don't dig them, we'll have a toad choker. Maybe I'll hedge my bets and dig half of them. These were in pretty good shape. And fortunately also, you know, that's the nice thing when you do it with buckets and you dump it out, you're not digging them, but you're much less likely to damage the skins of the potatoes when you have them in containers. Anyways, thanks for being here. I hope your garden is going great and going gangbusters. I hope you get a fantastic harvest with whatever it is that you're growing this season. Would be thrilled to death if you would consider maybe subscribing, hit the like button,
and follow along as I learn with all of this too. Every season is something new. All right, have a great weekend. We'll see you later.